Reverend Dr. Jasper Lowry. We thank you for another wonderful, beautiful day in the city of Oakland, California. We thank God for you for tuning in with your families and friends. There's a message in here for you tonight. There is someone out there that may be dealing with mental health issues, may have a family or a loved one out there that needs help, needs to know where to get help, needs to know where to find help. But guess what? We have the answer for you tonight, right here at your Rojas Community Services, where we do many things for those that are dealing with mental health issues, as well as reentry, and most of all, family reunification. So again, thank you for tuning in. You can check us out at www.yourrojas.org, or just call us up at the office, 510-567-3173. Again, that's 510-567-3173. Many of you know that we're living in a serious time. Many things are happening in the families and the communities out there, and a lot of people are looking for hope. They're looking for ideas and ways to heal the families, ways to justify and not retaliate with things that happen in your family or to family members. And we know that there's been a revolving door around issues in that same very sector of life. So tonight, we're hoping that there's something that you can gravitate to that will bring healing or close some of the tragedies that have occurred in your families, close some of the doors to those events, and prayerfully reestablish your life where you can continue and live a prosperous life. So we thank you. We're praying for you tonight. But most of all tonight, we have two wonderful guests, and we're going to just take a moment and pause and allow them to introduce themselves and maybe tell us just a little bit about themselves. How about that? Starting with the lady right here to my left. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about you?
Hi, my name is Vicci, and I am
Parent.
I'm a parent and a worker, and just glad to be here and look forward to sharing some of my experiences with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Parenting is the most important thing. And who else do we have here?
My name is Leann Simpson. I am the new community liaison with P.E.E.R.S. P.E.E.R.S stands for P.E.E.R.S Envisioning and Engaging in Recovery Services. It's a mental health nonprofit that advocates for social inclusion and elimination of stigma and discrimination. And I've also been working with children for 15 years of my life. Ever since I was old enough to work, I've been working with children. And I'm also a public speaker with an organization called Mental Health Association of San Francisco, where they have a program called SOLVE, which stands for Sharing Our Lives, Voices, and Experiences.
Wow, you're pretty busy. So they keep you going daily, or how do you?
Well, I'm very busy with P.E.E.R.S. I spoke recently at the 10x10 walk that we had, and that was an exhilarating experience. To get up on the gazebo at Lake Merritt was just a phenomenal experience, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed my experience with P.E.E.R.S so far.
That's wonderful. And again, there's a message for you in this, and some of you are probably figuring out, okay, so what is it that they all have in common? Well, guess what it is? Mental health. Me, myself, over 20 years ago, being diagnosed with a bipolar nervous condition, on psychotropic medications, went under therapy for over 2.5 years. I am also considered a consumer, which we don't really like the word. Sounds a little better than client, but it ain't too much away from that. But nevertheless, we recovered, and or we have some family members that have some of the same self-issues. One of my sisters is a veteran, and she also suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and post-traumatic stress disorder from being in the war. So I do understand that it's a life-changing thing when you're dealing with someone with mental health issues. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And I'm going back over here to Vicci, who kind of took a moment to get started there and didn't give us the whole story. There's a lot to Vicci here that she's holding on to. But I know that in her family, I think you have a loved one that dealt with some mental health issues.
Yes, there's a couple of family members that have issues in the mental health area that we as a family are still trying to support and understand and handle on a daily basis.
Yeah, keyword support. So what are some of the challenges that you guys, this is, how long, have they been dealing with these issues?
Well, it's not, it was not an inherited discovery. It's something that happened along the way in life, and later we learned that it is associated with mental health, and it's been ongoing for years. But it's just an evolving situation, and we're learning more and more about it, and trying to be a supporting relative.
So we're seeing that there's some educational pieces around mental health that even as a family, it's good that we teach other family members, and they're around children, they're around everyone in the family. So therefore, there are things that needs to be understood and learned when you say about mental health.
Yes, there would be, because it's not, in some cases, to me, mental health is not easily detected. It's something that you discover, and in the case with one of my family members, it was, like I said, it was not inherited. It was a result of a bad situation that led to him becoming mentally challenged.
And this is a touchy situation, I understand. And thank you for sharing that. Because I know sometimes, and then you come to this point in life where it's time to talk about it, and it's kind of like, how do I let that out? We get so used to dealing with issues in the family, and it becomes a natural, normal thing. Is that something that, Leann, you have experienced in your family? Or
Actually, I've experienced it in my family, but I also have first-hand experience with it. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the age of 19.
Oh,
and
welcome to the club.
Yeah, I think Vicci is right. It was when I first got diagnosed, it wasn't something that somebody could tell me what it was about. You know, bipolar disorder, what is it exactly? And so it took me a lot of my own self-learning to realize what it meant to be bipolar.
Wow.
And what were the symptoms, and how could I learn how to manage that, you know, and it was a very difficult challenge to overcome.
You two shared the same exact thing when you said learn. And part of my therapy, I was taught about disability. And that's how I overcame it, by learning the ins and outs, the ups and the downs. What does it mean when I'm hearing things or seeing things? What happens when I do take the meds, when I don't take the meds? And I had to learn that whole system in order to wean myself out of it. So those are two key elements, and I think both of you are on the right path when you talk about mental health. And tonight's segment is mental health in ministry. I'm saying that because I am a pastor, and I do have a mental health model ministry. When you come to my ministry, there's several people right there in the congregation with mental health issues. And they have strong spirituality.
Right.
And we need to understand that, and even maybe begin to address it more from a spiritual point versus just straight to the pills, straight to the psych, straight to John George and a few other places. You know, maybe sometimes I just need to go to church.
Well, for me, when I get into a bipolar episode, I believe that I'm the wife of Christ. I have grandiose beliefs, and coupled with delusions of persecutions and hallucinations.
Wow.
So there's something that's very, very spiritual about my manias, where there's kind of this, you know, you don't really know what reality is when you come out of it. You know, what is the truth? Is my mania the truth, or is my everyday living life as a loving Leann, is that the truth? And there's a line that you have to draw between those two.
I like that.
But there's something very spiritual, there's something very real about having a mental illness and your spirituality that comes with that.
Wow. Now see, Vicci, let me come back to you on that topic. Was there ever something that one of your family members did and just thought that was the thing to do? They just didn't think there was nothing wrong with it. There's something that jumps out at you right there.
If it's okay.
Yeah.
One of my family members, which he was normal all of his years of us growing up, and then he decided to make a foolish mistake and get involved with drugs, and the drugs kind of took him over. The result of his drug abuse it enlightened that he had a problem of schizophrenia. You know, he had to be committed, and once they did the diagnosis and so forth, it turned out that he too was schizophrenic. And I also wanted to add that a lot of people have mental challenges that they're not even aware that they have.
Wow, that's a good point.
It's a lot of people that, like you said, it's hard to detect what something is at different times. There's a lot of people walking around that don't realize that they, need, that they have the issue and don't know what to do or how to go about finding out what's the problem or what's the matter. But it's different reasons and different things that lead to the discovery of it. And in the case of my family member, drugs brought it to light.